Are we live yet? Yeah, we're live. Thanks, everybody. This is
Kicking it
welcome to the
live.
pre-show. It's a part of the show where we talk about what we're gonna do on the show. I'm just gonna bullshit for a little while. I'm actually sharing out
Yeah.
the show. I'm running late, man. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Great weekend. Fantastic weekend. How about you, Dave? How
Had a
about you,
pretty
Big
good
G?
weekend.
Good.
Did pretty good weekend.
Uh,
I went and saw Doctor Strange. Treated
I
my mom to
watched.
an early
Well,
Mother's Day gift.
we'll definitely talk about that with spoilers coming up.
Mm.
Segment one. That will be first thing. Yeah, I didn't go to the theater to watch it.
But
I watched it on
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and
my own streaming
Sunday,
service.
Games Workshop had Warhammer Fest.
Oh, nice. Free comic
They
book day. Did you take part in free comic book day?
My free comic book day was very abbreviated because we were actually on a time crunch to go to the movie theater.
Oh yes.
I did pick up some free comic books, but I have not read them yet.
I didn't get any free books. They're waiting for me at the shop, but I think Taylor's going to be in a little while, y'all. Thanks for coming in early. But yeah, we're going to get deep into Doctor Strange with spoilers. I think I'm getting a little cold. I'm a little hoarse.
It may not be a cold, Gomer.
It may be the cold Gomer.
It may be COVID-19, Gomer.
George Perez. We'll talk about him. Celebrate that legend.
Yeah,
I mean, we knew it was coming, but
yeah, we knew it was coming.
It's hard to prepare.
It's still sad.
Mm-hmm. Dark Crisis hype, a new comic from Oscar Isaac, and then the final Moon Knight episode. We'll talk about it. All kinds of food news, a twofer, as always.
Ooh.
Moment of Destruction, maybe.
You have one?
Maybe. I have a new toy.
Oh man, you guys started kind of early tonight.
Yeah, we got the pre-show going without you, Taylor. I said, welcome. Segment one, we'll talk about the movie, and then George Perez, Dark Crisis, Oscar Isaac, and Moon Knight. And then Free Comic Book Day, we'll talk about that right as we talk about the top 3 books of the week. It was a pretty mediocre week, but
there's some gems in there.
There are some good stuff.
That's exactly what's in my notes. There were some gems. So, anything else you gentlemen want to add to the show?
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty full slate.
It is.
I just want to touch on real quick the Warhammer Fest for from Thursday to Saturday.
Well, sure. Let's start with that after we do this lead in.
Okay.
Which one should I pick?
Just pick one, Gomer.
Oh my God. They all start the same. It's hard to know what they all are.
It certainly does suck.
It does. Mike Myers, I watched that Pentaveret or whatever, his Illuminati series. It's big, dumb, stupid fun. I love it. It's ridiculously.
Is this the one where Mike Myers and Shrek share the screen together?
Well, I know he plays himself in like 8 different roles. Greetings, geeks. Welcome back to another episode of This Geek and Comics, Outright Geekery's comic book shit talk show.
Gomer,
A.K. David and Taylor.
Kind of added a little bit of melody to it today there, David.
Yeah.
We were in harmony a little bit. Dave.
Yeah.
Talk about this fest shit so we can talk about the movie that everybody
Okay.
watched.
Just real briefly, Games Workshop held a 4-day festival where they revealed a bunch of stuff coming up for later this year. Big stuff is new teams for Kill Team.
Oh, okay.
We got a glimpse of another unit from the Leagues of Voltan, which is the reimagined squats for Warhammer 40K. If you're a fan,
if you are into plastic crack,
yeah.
God, it's so expensive.
But the big reveals came on Saturday when they showed a massive portion of the new Horus Heresy line.
Whoa!
Which is basically
no idea.
Basically, Space Marine upon Space Marine violence. We get new tanks. We're getting a 50-man unit, 1 tank, and a dreadnought starter kit. It's
coming to a shop
incredible.
near you,
Yeah.
$8,000.
It's under 300 right now. They're saying.
Anyway, the big news of the week, biggest movie in the world right now. Cumberbatch killed it on Saturday Night Live. Just saying. Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. We're getting into full spoilers, y'all. So if you're
You
in
can't
here,
really talk about this movie without getting into spoilers, honestly.
No.
yeah, because initially I was under the impression that the bad guy was going to be the good guy, but it ended up being the good guy was the bad guy. Does that makes sense if you've seen it?
Yes. It makes sense because all the trailers I've seen had been leading me to think that the good guy was going to be helping out, and it turned out that the good guy was the one with the selfish motive.
Yeah, this was not a team up. I was under the impression this
No,
was going to be a team up.
So yeah, full on spoilers. We've already kind of given it away, but more explicitly starting now. So yeah, Scarlet Witch is straight up the bad guy of this movie, and and it's not like some like half-ass thing. She straight up fucking murders a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In pretty messed up ways too.
I mean, it's Mother's Day, and she'd do anything for her kids.
I was about to mention, that like the theme of motherhood was really present in this movie. So
I thought this was going to be the bad guy.
Yeah,
I thought that the other Strange, the one who's like things got out of hand, I thought that was going to be the bad guy, and he kind of was. But
yeah, well, hey Frankie, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we will definitely talk about that.
But that being said, the movie does have a lot of great spectacle to it. The movie is a lot of fun. I do appreciate them just kind of like, who fucking Doctor Strange is. Let's just roll with it.
Well, that's
type of
it's not like he
mentality.
hasn't been like in about 6 other movies in the MCU.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been probably the most prolific background character of all, or at least he's up there.
Well, after Tony Stark has left the scene, yes, without a doubt.
It's crazy to think about how he has been in so many movies. This is only the second movie where he has top billing.
Sure. Cameos were great. But honestly, everybody getting one-offed by Wanda there at the end, I was a little put off by that.
Well,
it had like tones of Disassembled to it, you know what I mean? And
that's
House of M.
That's what I was about to bring up. That like for people who are just getting this from the MCU who don't have like a background in the comics, this probably came a bit. This was a bit disorienting, I'm sure.
Right, Orlando, whatnot.
Yeah, I mean that was
awesome.
Like his head like caving in like that. That was probably the most brutal thing. This is honestly the closest they have ever been to doing an R-rated MCU movie.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of violence.
They really towed that line.
They did the classic cutaway.
Well, like
just before
they showed like Captain Carter's top half sliding off, but didn't actually show it. Reed Richards getting turned into what did the term the dude use there?
Funfetti.
Yeah, Funfetti. That was a cartoonish enough that
itself.
They could get away with it. Yeah,
it did remind me of the classic Hawkeye.
I did.
And the Joe Quesada, Scarlet Witch cover for that.
Yeah,
the X-Men animated.
I did notice that.
That was cool.
And if you did watch through the credits, they did put that in the credits too.
Yeah. But the cameos themselves were really clever, not only getting like Patrick Stewart back, which only making it harder and harder for whoever the MCU Professor X is going to be, just like constantly, constantly showing that these are impossible shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But then also bring in John Krasinski, which I really hope he is still the MCU Mr. Fantastic. Because
I would love that.
That's a fan casting, which if that's all this was them like responding to it being a fan casting, that would be clever enough. But
it'd be all right.
I do think he'd nail it. So I hope that door isn't closed, you know?
Yeah. I mean, overall, this movie. All right, let's talk about the comic book angles first. Okay. I love the bit of Aaron's and Bocciolo's Strange run when he sort of like sees the magic going on that no one else can see.
Yeah.
I love that nod. Disassembled incursions. They have introduced multiversal incursions into this.
Well, this is where we could put our tinfoil hat on. This other universe had the Fantastic Four and has the X-Men. Is this how they bring them into the MCU? Is that we have an incursion?
Is this how we get Deadpool in the MCU?
That's the best way to do it.
It's definitely something they've seeded that if they wanted to do it, they could.
But I think this is going to spin off more into like the Quantumania, which is the third Ant-Man movie, and I think it's a lot of it stemming out of Loki, the series.
Yeah, we know that
sure,
Quantumania is going to have Kang in it, so we're sure that's probably going to be the next big like let's move the meta narrative forward movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of places they can go and directions they can go, but I think what Taylor was saying about bringing the FF and the X-Men in, incursions, are just the best way to do it. You blow up one universe or Earth in one universe, and you save the other universe.
I mean, that Earth is kind of fucked now anyway because Wanda did wreck their like Justice League pretty much.
Yeah, they're everything. But mutants can resurrect, so we'll be okay there. Anyway,
if they have that technology,
right? But all right. Overall, again, they've got this down to a formula, and this was really just sticking to the formula in the context of an MCU movie. Not saying that's a bad thing. The horror angle was definitely unique, but it was expected with the director that they got.
Yeah, I mean, there were shades of Evil Dead in this movie.
Oh,
I mean, the Bruce Campbell cameo where he was literally fighting his own hand. Yeah.
But yes, that too, but not just Bruce Campbell showing up, but there were definitely shades of like when the Souls of the Damned showed up. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just Sam Raimi.
This definitely had Sam Raimi's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah, and that's what the MCU does. You know, they give you Mad Libs, and you're like fill in the blanks with what you would fill them in with.
I mean, more so than any movie they've done so far, I think that your enjoyment is going to come down to sort of subjective things more so than most of these other MCU movies. If you can't get over them making Wanda the villain, you're not going to like this movie. If you don't like Sam Raimi's movie telling techniques, you're not going to like this movie. But if you do, if you're okay with that, and if you do like Sam Raimi, which I think most people do, this was a blast. I think. Really.
This was a great. This is just a return to form for Sam Raimi,
for sure. Yeah. I like the idea of Wanda being a villain because she's sort
of. If you do accept Wanda being a villain, she's a very effective villain. She's
sympathetic in a way.
She was, yeah. I mean, I did like how I did like how they did. I mean, the post. Okay, if you're looking at like everything in the last episode of WandaVision before that post-credit scene, it seemed like she was leaving in a pretty good place. But in that post-credit scene, she was like fucking zoning out, reading the goddamn Darkhold. So they definitely seeded this. Yeah. They did seed this.
Yeah.
But if you like, what you could argue that now that Wanda has kind of like awakened to her full-on Scarlet Witch powers, it's hard to even use her as a hero anymore because what problem can she not single-handedly solve?
Yeah, and they can always nerf her if they want, but I really
I think they've laid the groundwork. They want to bring her back, which, by the way, she's probably not dead.
I figured she probably wasn't dead.
I mean, no corpse, no death, but but if they set it up where if they want to bring her back again, they could be like, oh, well, after I destroyed the Darkhold, I'm not that powerful anymore.
And we have a multiverse now. All right, they've already established there's multiple Wandas. They can just bring in another Wanda. I mean, you know what I mean? It's that basic at this point.
That's true. I mean, the multiverse is like
a loophole, but
they basically have infinite outs now that they have the multiverse idea in play.
Yeah, exactly. What'd you guys think about them calling out 616 as comic guys? I mean,
I kind of wish it was a different number. Like if this was like 617 or something, you know?
Yeah, right. The neighbor.
Yeah, I think I would have liked that better. But you know, if this is the way they want to go, I'm not like upset about it.
And they could be wrong. Just because they designated it 616 don't mean shit. You know?
I thought it was a nice nod.
Now we're really splitting hairs.
Exactly. America Chavez showing up. Great
she was really cool in this movie.
Yes, she was dope, dude.
She makes the multiverse work.
This was kind of like her becoming type of a movie because like in the comics, she is an ass kicker. You know, she's going around. She's got that swagger. She is punching motherfuckers in the face. She doesn't get around to punching motherfuckers in the face until the end of this movie.
Yeah, in the third act. She is kind of a damsel in distress almost in a way throughout the whole thing. And that's okay for this to also be a coming-of-age movie for her. You know?
This is her introduction. I'm fine with it. And now that they've gotten that out of the way, I'd like to think that the next time we see her, she will have that swagger. That's like her defining feature.
Her and Ned are going to team up. Right?
I'm sure.
Magic-y.
I mean, why not? They could set that up. I'm surprised that they completely ignored the more Drew stuff that they set up in the last post credits for the first Doctor Strange.
I mean, they did.
They can still do that, but
they could still touch on it, but it's kind of ruined now because this was definitely a cooler version of Mordo, at least more evil in a smart way. You know, there's nothing nice about this Illuminati sticking their nose into everybody's fucking business just because, oh, we don't like incursions.
Incidentally, the Illuminati really do come off like a bunch of idiots. We're like, we're not worried about the Scarlet Witch, and 15 minutes later, they have all been killed by the Scarlet Witch.
Dead.
Yeah,
she fucking jobbed all of them.
Yeah, they're just all smoked.
And this is a Scarlet Witch that's being controlled from another Scarlet Witch. From
I did like them showing off Black Bolt. You know.
Yeah, and that was I had looked this up because you couldn't really tell, but that was the same Black Bolt actor from the TV show.
Show that 10 people watched.
Yeah.
Good for the actor, you know.
Good for him. He got murdered on stage.
At least we got a comic instead of nothing,
Black Bolt. You know.
Yeah,
it was cool to see like that Reed Richards. That was like the current comics accurate at least. FF look. That was the chair from the cartoon for Professor X. Yeah. It was cool to see. Oh, and I didn't recognize her at first, but that was Monica Rambeau.
Yes.
Oh, not Monica. Maria Rambeau. Rambeau.
So with them bringing back that animated series, I wonder if that's going to be like in canon, at least in a multiverse. I mean, everything's in fucking canon now.
All bets are off. You know. Oh yeah, and the post-credit scene, we got Clea showing up.
Hi, thanks, Theresa. Thanks for coming by. Thank you. But yeah, finally in the MCU, the biggest fucking actress in Hollywood right now. I don't care who says it. Otherwise, if you're talking running the gambit, she's an Oscar winner and she was in Fast and Furious. So, I mean, I don't know what to say, but she's amazing. That looks like the Dark Dimension in the background.
It does look like Dormammu's.
She's Clea, who is in the comics historically Doctor Strange's ongoing, thing.
I'm sure she'll have a big, big role in the next Doctor Strange movie.
I think before that.
I mean, you don't use Charlize Theron as a bit part, you know?
I think it's going to be before that where they'll do something.
I mean, Doctor Strange, what's the last time we had an MCU movie that didn't have Doctor Strange or Wong or both in it, you know?
Black Widow.
Oh, yeah, you got Black me there.
Widow. That's it. Yeah. But I was actually talking about Wong the other day. After me and my old lady watched this, we did watch the first Doctor Strange, and it's like, oh wow, Wong. Remember, he was just a librarian. They were making Beyonce jokes about his name, and now he's like mega badass, just doing all the cool shit.
Yeah, David's right. He's like this phase is Nick Fury for sure. Yeah, he's the one like bringing in Shang-Chi, and
Yeah. All right, so there you go. There's Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. Pretty good movie. I don't know. It's hard to rate the MCU movies. I'd put it above average. I'd probably say that's the best way to sort of rate the MCU nowadays, just because I like the character. I liked all of the cameos because I'm a comic guy, and it had a lot of comic shit in it. Shit that you're not going to understand anything going on if you don't read the comics. That Botchalo thing. It was enough for me, dude.
Like, one thing I would like to say about the movie that I thought was one of the stronger aspects of it, I really liked the way that Strange's character arc in the story was kind of like starting off with him being the guy who makes the sacrifices, right? Who does the terrible, necessary things. Yeah. He's being confronted with that by a lot of people, including that guy at the wedding, which incidentally, how did that guy get like a fucking specific name drop in the credits like that? Like, what the hell is up with that?
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, I like how like by the end of the movie, his struggle is to come up with a way to like, I'm not going to just take the quickest, most brutal path forward. I'm going to try to do this the right way,
Yeah, which goes against everything in his nature.
Yeah, But and that kind of ties in well with
fighting, though. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, well, like where we last saw him in Spider-Man, that could maybe be a good like kind of jumping off point for that. Where like Spider-Man did show him that, I did the thing where I did it the right way. You know?
Yeah, I did the hard thing. Just because there was a risk.
I didn't take the quick calculus that you do.
I think in the context of this movie, Steven saw all of these other versions of himself make that choice in the other direction and fail. It's pretty easy when you have a multiversal example of how terrible you are, and then you can make the other decision.
Yeah,
Okay? So
and
I'm not saying
as much
it was
as we were
so
just
bold, you know.
as much as we were like shitting on the Illuminati a second ago for like we're not scared of Scarlet Witch, we're scared of you. That still is a pretty telling moment where they're not scared of the Scarlet Witch, they're scared of him.
Yeah, exactly. So Dave, overall, good. What?
Good
anything?
movie. Would definitely see it again.
Riveting commentary.
Did your mom like it?
Oh yeah. She
Oh,
loved it.
that sounded like a riff. That did sound like you were.
No,
riffing.
he just mentioned the other
I
day he was
know,
going to
I
take his
know.
mom.
Yeah,
I went with my mom too. We did it was
very
our Mother's Day
nice.
weekend thing.
Very
Yeah, we had a Mother's Day. I took her out to see the movie, and then we went out and eat. And
I like
did
to
a couple
think
other
that my
things.
mom would cause a multiversal genocide for my sake. That's kind of a sweet
Dude,
thought.
Exactly.
I would hope.
Dude. Yeah. Mother of the Year award. All right, let's get into news. We got a lot of it. And comics are shit this week, so we'll be quick. We honor a legend, celebrate the life of just a guy who changed the game. We knew this was coming, but it's never easy.
No, it's
George
not.
Perez has passed away at age 67. It was kind of, I mean, the first week of May is so nerdy. You know what I mean? We got the Star Wars Day, Free Comic Book Day. There's always a spring movie, even before any of that, was a thing. There's always a movie that week. So Free Comic Book Day, like the day before, he passes away. And I don't want to say that's like, wow, great timing, because that sounds so morbid and everything.
It's a bittersweet moment.
It was so bittersweet, where we knew it was coming, right? Everybody had kind of, steeled themselves to it.
Yeah.
But to be able to have a day where you're going to hang out with your people who understand that loss the same as you at your comic book shop, celebrating wherever you celebrated, Free Comic Book Day. It was really kind of a I don't even know the word to use, man. It was surreal. It's
Cathartic.
Really, yeah. I mean, kind of in a way, but
in a lot of ways,
legend.
I mean, this is never easy. I mean, this guy is such a cornerstone of modern comic artwork, but because he was kind of upfront with us about what he was going through, it does make it
easier.
I don't want to use the word easier because it still sucks,
because it's never easy.
But easier, I guess, is a right word to use. It's still not easy, but it is easier because.
But how about him? That was like his. But that was like his last gift.
Yeah.
To let everybody know. No, I'm not going to let this be, a thing that does something.
Well,
when it comes out of my control.
Yeah, when it comes out of nowhere, it does hit harder in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure, dude, for sure.
I mean, that's obviously your personal choice when you're a celebrity in a lot of ways, but
yeah,
I appreciate it, I guess is the only way to say it.
Yeah, and for him to be that way with his fans is just him going out the same way he lived. I've heard all kinds of shit from people, artists and creators and writers on social media saying that this guy, when I was young, even before I was into comics and really just talked to him at conventions, he was always like, just go for it. You know what I mean? Always just supportive and, appreciated his fans and understood where they, who they were. And we just got that JLA Avengers reprint for the Hero Initiative. One of the covers for Dark Crisis, which is a great segue because we're talking about Dark Crisis next, is a Perez cover, inspired Perez cover, and we'll go to the Heroes Initiative. So let's talk about that. First 7 pages of Dark Crisis, big deal. These were in the Free Comic Book Day thing. You're not really going to get shit from a preview like this. But
I enjoyed what was there, though.
We got a checklist. All right. So there will be a Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League. Superman #1 is a who's who of comic talent will pay tribute to the world's greatest superheroes in a Worlds Without Justice League one-shots. So we're going to get Superman #1. That's Tom King. Chris Burnham is going to be the artist on there. Dark Crisis World with the Justice League Green Lantern, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Fernando Blanco. A Hawk Girl backup by Nadia Shamas and Jack Herbert. Wonder Woman #1, Teenie Howard, Lila DeLuca. Martian Manhunter backup, Dan Waters and Brandon Peterson. Green Arrow, Stephanie Phillips and Clayton Henry. That's going to be fantastic. Black Canary backup by Dennis Culver and Nick Varela. And finally, Batman #1. Cy Spurrier doing a Batman. That should be interesting. With Ryan Sook doing the art. Always love Ryan Sook, especially when it's Batman. There's going to be a Zatanna backup with Megan Fitzmartin and Dan Jurgens. But here are all. I mean, this is going into December. 7-issue event.
Yeah, looks like this is going the distance here.
That's a monster, dude.
Like, I'll definitely pick up the core books, and I'll probably check out these World Without books because, that is a hell of a creative roster they put together for that.
Yeah. Now, if you look at this, it is crossing over into like the Flash, which is good because
I was picking that up anyway.
Yeah, I'm not picking that up. Am I going to pick it up for this? It's only 2 issues. If you look, it's only 2 issues.
Yeah, he's right.
Well,
So
I
maybe
mean,
I will. I mean, this is a weird. No, it's 3.
Yeah.
It's 3. There's one in August.
Well, I'm going to approach this the same way I usually do, where if it was a book I was going to pick up anyway, I'll get it, and if it wasn't, probably not. So I'm probably not going to get these Young Justice books.
See, I don't know who's writing that. Who is?
Well, that's a fair point.
Is that announced, Dave? Will you look into that and see if Dark Crisis, Young Justice, if the
research
guy
guy
announced? I mean, we're in May. If that book's coming out in June, that should have been announced. I don't know how that creeps.
It surely must have been, yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about these other covers. This is a Jim Lee cover, the #1. This is a 50-in-1, I think, maybe variant. I don't know. But here's the George Perez cover. This is also going to come in a foil variant. That foil variant is going to hit hard. If you can get your hands on that, I don't care if it's 3 figures. I think it's going to be worth it. But only the foil variant. I love how he's working on the architecture for the Teen Titans thing. The Titans Tower. I love that so much.
Well, yeah, circling back to George Perez again, like,
yeah,
you have so many choices for like which one is his like most enduring legacy. You could definitely argue Teen Titans, but his run on the Avengers,
Wonder Woman. Yeah, his Wonder Woman changed the way Themyscira looked, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He just made it bigger. A lot of times before that, they were drawing it like almost medieval, like castles and little alleyways and shit. And he really just opened up Themyscira, I think, to be more Olympian.
I do have at least a writer, a name of a writer, and maybe an artist.
What we got?
Megan Fitzmartin is the writer for the Young Justice series.
Okay.
And Laura Braga is the artist, with Max Dunbar tentatively as the cover artist.
All right. And that's in June. See, I don't know about that. It depends on what it's about. Do you have any more info on it? Young Justice, who are they going to follow? I thought all the Young Justice League members were going to become the Justice
It says
League.
crises have always had a devastating impact on the generation of heroes that make up Young Justice, and Dark Crisis will hit them even harder. Tim Drake, Impulse, and Superboy go missing during the Justice League's funeral. The only person concerned enough to find them is Cassie Sandsmark, a.k.a. Wonder Woman Girl.
Yeah, that sounds like an offshoot book that I don't really care about.
I don't think it'll be required reading, at least.
Yeah. But anyway, for this, I am getting the main series and the main backups. That Justice League, Dark Crisis, Worlds Without, Justice League. Those, I'm getting all those one-shots. This is kind of, to me, an event that appears to be set up similarly to Metal, those 2 Metal events that they did. It was one big main series and then just a bunch of dope one-shots. I like that idea for an event.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of what Marvel did with Heroes Reborn last year a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
Not quite this, whatever. But
it didn't have a main series, but
yeah. I guess going back to that Free Comic Book Day setup looked pretty cool. I liked the Nightwing speech at the funeral. I liked Wally and Superboy teaming up to fight Cobra, but not that Cobra.
Not that Cobra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Cobra that looked like Hydra. Yeah, but whatever.
As opposed to the member of Hydra named Cobra.
Man, just
stop. And then there's another terrorist organization called Cobra. I mean, we could keep going.
We could, but let's stop.
My favorite Cobra is the Sylvester Stallone movie, Cobra. That movie kicks ass.
That movie is like a gun love fest.
Oscar Isaac's next comic book project is going to be launched on August 9th. Dude, this was announced back in 2020, and I remember this because I'm pretty sure Dave and I were just doing the show then, and we talked about this.
Now, this Legendary Comics, is this associated with Legendary Pictures?
Yes, and that's the only reason they're doing
this. Yeah, that is their emblem right there.
Yep. They wanted to, roll this off into something else. Brian Bucciolata is going to do it. Christian Ward's doing some art. A traumatic event affects Leo. His eyes are open to a world of literal angels and demons battling for the souls of humanity.
So
As the
is
story
John
progress-
Constantine the movie?
It sounds like Constantine. It really does. Leo will have to decide whether he can take on his inner demons to fight off the real ones. So there you go. There is a
gunshot wound
Kickstarter.
in his head.
Yeah, he got hit in the head. It's an injury.
Well, it is called head wounds.
Yeah, he got a head wound. There is a Kickstarter for this, Dave. If you wanted to look and see where that's at right now, you could. I don't know. Brian Bucciolata is always hit or miss for me. You know, when he hits really hard. But when he misses, it's just hard for me to even give two shits. But Christian Ward is always, you know, I mean, he's getting Phil Noto up there. You know, he's starting to
That
really,
does have a lot of Phil Noto vibe to
Yeah,
it, for sure.
Yeah,
but
there
this is
definitely
Christian
Phil Noto
Ward.
vibe.
Not to take
Christian-
any away from Christian Ward here, but yeah, that's a compliment. I want.
But early Christian Ward was a lot more rough. It came off as like street art, and that's not a critique. That's not a negative critique. I love that style, but yeah, he's really refined himself for this book.
Okay, found it.
What are we at, Dave?
Hold on.
Head wounds. Found
head
it. Hold
wounds.
on.
Okay, it has already met its goal. It's at 615 backers, and it's got 25 days to go.
Awesome.
I have to log into Kickstarter to kind of give you some other details. So
No,
give me
we
a
don't
second.
need any of those. It's a Kickstarter.
Don't worry
y'all.
about it, Dave. You've done
Yeah.
what you need to.
Yeah, well, you did a great job, Dave. Thank you. But it's a Kickstarter. You know what you're getting.
Why is like a big movie studio needing to do a fucking Kickstarter?
Kickstarter is more than just like crowdfunding. Now it's crowd promoting.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
really
Kickstarter. A lot of
I can
big
see that
game
angle.
companies nowadays use Kickstarter as kind of their pre-order. It kind of does
Yeah.
hurt the small shops, the brick and mortar shops.
I'm glad it hurts the brick and mortar shops. I'll be honest.
I'm not,
Because it's
because
direct to consumers, right? And this is going to eventually come out into shops.
I mean, if the victim is GameStop, I have had
Yeah,
more
right.
sympathy.
or
you know?
Walmart or Amazon, right?
Yeah.
But no, Dave, I completely understand what you're saying, but in this case, this book is definitely going to get printed by Legendary. It's definitely going to come out at shops if they want it. And you'll get variant covers. It'll actually be collectible. You know, it's Oscar Isaac. He's the hottest shit in the world right now.
yeah.
And how do I know that? Because I've got a video that shows just how. I wish I'd have muted the video. Down. Oh my god.
Boy, I am glad that you gave us
Oh
a
my
heads up.
God, dude.
Man, yeah, that was a pretty.
Sorry. Go ahead, Taylor. I can't help myself.
But no, that was a very kick-ass finale that they had here.
It was.
This
It
has
was
been a
fantastic.
really strong show from beginning to end. It did not really have any weak episodes. I love like the gods like fighting like kaiju in the background while all that
Oh,
was
dude,
going on.
I think I got an image of that.
Yeah, I loved what
Yeah,
we
it was
saw
one of
there
their-
with that Steven and Mark switching back and forth, you know, and they have like different fighting styles. So like there's an appreciable difference between the two, you know?
It was so well done, dude. The end of this. The thing about this show, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on because this is unlike anything they've done on the screen, big screen, or on the small screen. Okay. Moon Knight isn't really known to be this sort of character where there's this heart, where there's this mystery, where there's this, you know, real serious discussions about coming to terms with our mental illness and
Yeah.
and dependence.
I mean, I'm
And-
not speaking from any sort of authority here, but I have heard apparently that efforts were made to handle that material in a sensitive and you know
Yes.
authentic way. And apparently there has not been a backlash that I've seen. I haven't kind of like looking for one or anything, but it seems like
you'd hear it if there was one.
That's probably
you'd
true, so
definitely
yeah.
hear it.
so that does indicate to me that their efforts were appreciated by people who are in a position to appreciate it.
Yeah. But I will say this episode was the most MCU episode of all of the episodes. This was basically, you know, all right, here's our crescendo and ending because it's a
Yeah.
superhero thing. We've got to.
Yeah, they pulled
All's
out
well
a
that
lot
ends
of the
well.
stops.
We had to have the big final battle, of course.
Yeah.
Speaking of final stops, like fucking Scarlet Scarab here, she was
Yeah,
really
I thought I had an
kick-ass.
image of her.
You better. She was one of the cooler parts of the episode.
Kind of half-ass on there. I must not have gotten it, man.
Dude, you're dropping the ball on
I
that.
am
Get a
dropping
screen
the
cap
ball.
of the wings extended.
I know I had it, dude. Go ahead. You guys talk about how awesome she is. And
She
is
was
pretty
really
awesome.
awesome. And like, I appreciated that moment where like, she's like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" She's like, "Yeah."
I am.
yeah,
you know.
yeah, that was really cool, dude. I mean, it's a bit on the nose, maybe, I guess. but it
Sometimes it's
worked.
okay for something to be on the nose if it's something that
Yeah.
means something to an audience out there, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think my favorite takeaway though from this whole thing is avatars. All right, all these gods can now do like
Yeah.
avatars. What?
That was a really cool way to sort of handle the power system for the Egyptian gods here, you know?
Yeah.
There you
Okay,
go.
there's one. Cool.
Yeah. And this took a shitty character called Scarlet Scarab, who was, I mean, a comic book character who was a dude who literally just wore like red Egyptian pajamas around, but he was white as white could be. I mean, he was alabaster. So a great way to ditch that idiot from the 60s and then bring in a cool idea.
Yeah,
like
this is about as good a way to update a character as you possibly could.
Yeah.
By which I mean just like take a name that you have a license for and do something good with it, completely disregarding what it was before.
Right. So
mean,
I don't know what they're. Go ahead, Dave. Yes.
I mean,
go.
I know that we're getting like basically Greek gods in the next Thor movie, but couldn't there potentially be a way for us to get like an MCU Hercules this way?
Oh yes.
I'm sure they're getting
definitely.
to it sooner or later. In fact, hey, what are our odds on Hercules showing up in this Thor movie? Honestly,
I'm
Yeah.
thinking pretty good.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping, man. I love that guy.
that's
so
pretty
much.
soon. I mean, it's only a couple of months that's kind
Yeah.
of sneaking up on us here.
Yeah. I mean, Marvel's just hitting one after another. If you take that and Star Wars into account, there's no end. Limo from the
Comic.
comic compared to the one in the
Yeah, I
show.
think that's the one from the
Very
Warren
nice.
Ellis run, right?
Yep. This is definitely from the Ellis run.
Yeah,
Very
that was
well
really
done.
that was a cool post credit scene. And we did in fact get Jake. Yeah, Jake shows up and he's the fucking fixer personality. You know,
I mean, he's not even the fixer. He is the hero. Everything they would have lost at least 3 times in the whole series if not for Jake. All right.
Well, I will point out that ties in with the only real complaint I had about this episode.
Yeah.
It was kind of anticlimactic where in like the most harrowing moment, the hero is pinned on the ground. He blacks out. Jake tags in. We don't see any of it.
Yo.
And then he's won.
I liked it because it was a unique way to do it that did not go for a cheap out to remain normal, to stick with that status, that creative status quo, and to stick with the narrative that you yourself created in your show that worked really, really well.
I get that. I'm just kind of acknowledging that there's a
you're right.
trade-off to that.
Like you
You're
said
right.
the
You're
last
right.
time I was on this particular podcast, you said that they better introduce Jake in this episode because if they introduce him in the last episode, they ain't going to have time to explain him. And this was a good way to do it.
You didn't have to explain.
They're using him as the
Keep-
stinger, yeah.
Keep the mystery alive. We're going to get either a movie. I would much rather see a movie, honestly. Some people are saying, no, you've succeeded here on the small screen. Stay with the small screen. I would love to see a movie where the first arc is Jake. Just Jake.
I trust
part of the
Marvel to
movie.
do what they think is best. They have shown that they are good at telling these stories. So whichever one they think is the appropriate medium, yeah, go for it,
For sure.
But
for sure.
Yeah, I love the whole personality dynamic. Also, great emotional reunion when Mark went back to save Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like in a lot of ways, that was Mark's like redemption arc right there himself,
And again, yes, it was him saving his, a physical version of his imaginary friend, basically.
But it's also him going back to save the best of himself.
Yes.
He's not giving up on the good inside of him. And that plays through in the finale where he refuses to finish off Harrow. But then, of course, the bad in him had no problem doing it at the end of it,
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot more to tell about all of these characters. Okay. Maybe not so much Steven, but Mark definitely. Why is Jake there? What not only fractured him further. I mean,
and this season,
to create Jake and to not know Jake has been created.
Yeah, like he knew about Steven the whole time. He consciously knew that Steven was this part of him that he was keeping closed off from all of his trauma and abuse.
Yep.
But yeah, he has no fucking idea about Jake, and it'll be fascinating to see how that happened and what that like kind of means for him as a person. There's a lot of storytelling to be told in one form or another, however they decide to do it. But they seeded that beautifully.
Yeah,
I think the decision to leave Jake for this stinger is a great way to kind of whet our appetites for whatever's coming next. Although I do kind of wish we got to see that fight, you know?
I mean, that's how they should open up the first episode.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be a great way to do it.
Oh, he's about to die, and then nope, bing.
That would literally erase the only thing I would kind of wish they'd done differently here.
Right? Yeah. The thing about that is now Disney going for the Emmy here, sure, but you can't qualify for limited series if you're going to have 2 seasons, and you don't qualify for drama unless you have like 8 episodes. So,
man, whatever they need to do to get Oscar Isaac a fucking award for this, they need to do it because he was fucking amazing.
Here's my conspiracy theory on that. They would much rather get the promotion from everybody saying Oscar Isaac deserves it and doesn't have even a nomination.
I mean, if it's true, I don't care if they even did that on purpose, you know?
Right.
Anyway,
yeah. Great show. Kenobi.
Real quick, though, since this is all wrapped up now, where do we rank this in the Disney Plus shows?
All right, I'll go first on that because I still have to put WandaVision at number 1 just because it
I agree with that. WandaVision did stuff that's irrepeatable.
Exactly.
You know,
in television, you can't do that again. You can't be about television and pain and all that. But with that said, I think this is, probably a strong number 2. Maybe a number 3, probably a number 2 though. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
I love this.
I agree that WandaVision has probably cemented its place on top of the hill here, but it's either this or Loki for me for number 2.
No, I love Loki. Loki is great. Loki needs more.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Loki did a good job taking a character we already knew.
I know. Yeah, Dave. For sure.
But yeah, Loki did a good job taking a character we already know and love and really doing a deep dive and how he works and trying to move him forward as a character. This did a lot to introduce a character who we had never seen before. So in a lot of ways, that's more impressive in that sense.
Yeah. I think Loki's a more important show in the context of everything that the MCU's going in direction.
You could argue that's something
multiverse and TVA.
You could argue that's something in Moon Knight's favor, that it's not bogged down with the meta narrative.
Yes.
But that's subjective. I don't know if that's if that's a pro or a con, to be honest.
It is. It feels like it's almost removed from the MCU in a way, you know. They can fix that in season 2 as well, man.
Yeah.
Bring Doctor Strange in there. He's in it. Wong, fuck it. Just bring Wong.
Yeah, Wong.
All you really need.
Dave, where did you get this?
yeah. Dave, what do you think about?
I'm going to rank it number 2 because I'm not as big a fan of WandaVision, and Loki takes the top spot there. But I do like this better than WandaVision.
See, I like WandaVision just because I'm a TV guy. You know what I mean? And the way it paid homage to all these different, TV that I grew up with was just really, really well done.
I think you could argue that the worst parts of WandaVision probably dip below the worst parts of Moon Knight. But to me, the best of WandaVision is unreachable, really.
Yeah, for sure. All right, quick food.
Yummy.
What you get us this time, Goma?
One good, one bad. But again, you get to decide. Baskin Robbins has breakfast in bed ice cream. Buttermilk pancake.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So pancakes and waffles.
Buttermilk pancake and maple syrup flavored ice cream. Fluffy pancake and blueberry compote. I hate that word. Compote. I hate that word. But they also have a breakfast in bed cake. It's a tall stack cake that resembles pancakes.
That's fine.
It's a Mother's Day thing. It's a Mother's Day thing.
I don't know that I want pancake flavored ice cream, but it doesn't repulse me. So I'm assuming this is the good one.
It's not terrible.
I've heard worse ideas. Bubblegum ice cream, really? With chunks of bubblegum in it. The other one, Frosted Flakes. Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi flakes. These are available on Star Wars Day. Yes, they're in stores now. And getting psyched. We're going to talk about more Kenobi later. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes Obi-Wan Kenobi cereal pairs the rich, chocolatey flavors of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes chocolate with the sweet taste of original Kellogg's for a masterful combination of, wait for it, the dark and the light side.
This is something that they could have done before.
This is the worst
Star Wars.
You can do this yourself. I would just go buy the chocolate, go buy the regular, and mix it in a bowl. And I'm
Well,
sorry, that sounds disgusting.
I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever heard, and at least the box art is kind of okay.
Oh, highly collectible.
Yeah.
I want a box just to collect the box and put it on a shelf.
I mean, this isn't something I'd probably want to eat, but it's not like a disgusting idea, you know?
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
not
great.
entirely repulsed by this.
It's not great. All right, there's your food news. Let's do comics. Where is the comics? There it is. I lost the damn video. I want to play this Moon Knight Dust Off My Shoulder video again. Top 3, Dave. I think we'll let you go first. Feel free to mention any free comic book day shit, I guess, in your top 3 or honorable mentions. If you,
I
didn't read any. I didn't read any this year.
I
haven't gotten around to most.
I haven't
of my
gotten around to
free
reading my
comic book day
top
stuff,
my
yeah.
free comic book
Awesome.
day stuff.
Awesome.
Okay. Honorable mentions are quite a few.
We'll make it quick, snappy.
All right. So, Righteous First for Vengeance.
That was a fucking dope book.
It was
It's
a
all
great.
coming down, all coming back
Yeah.
to haunt his ass.
Oh yeah, consequences
always
are
comes
catching
back
up
to
with
get ya.
catching up with you. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 128. We get a little more info about the Venus. Apparently, she is a Frankenstein mutant that has
man.
been resurrected by the dragon scale.
Man.
And
It's
she is
crazy.
not a turtle; she is a frog
Boom, boom, boom.
that
For
is
now.
being Frankensteined into
For
a
now.
turtle.
So they gave her a shell.
They're giving her a shell. She's got like other body parts and all that. She's being like stitched together and kept alive by this magic.
The
magic
Triceratops
scale.
is on too. The Triceratops.
Yeah,
is
the
on.
Triceratops.
Oh my
the
goodness.
Triceratons are back.
It's crazy.
in a way.
I'm stoked to read this moving into that big, huge Rat King story, dude.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dave.
Heavy Metal Elements Star Wars number 1. Steve
Not
Orlando.
bad.
Not
I mean,
bad. A lot of world building going on there. If you
Yeah.
like magical girls, this is the book for you.
It was the art was really I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about this book because it was good, but it wasn't like great. But I don't know. Yeah, good choice.
And my
good
last
mention.
honorable mention is going to be Radiant Black number. Which one are you? 14.
Yeah, I skipped all those this week. I
Uh,
need to let those build up a little bit, man.
Basically what happens here is the previous Radiant Black is having issues with the current Radiant Black, and some things are happening.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much. It's just,
Yeah, don't spoil it because I definitely do want to catch up on it.
all right. And my number 3 pick for the week is actually going to be the Frontiersman Lockup Special,
Oh wow, I forgot all about this book.
because it is dealing with the consequences of him killing the Trifo guy, the American Standard guy. Apparently, like this guy, even though he's like a bad guy in Frontiersman, a complete piece of shit in Frontiersman, he was apparently an American hero, and Frontiersman
Oh.
kills him on camera in self-defense.
In
And now-
modern day,
in modern, well, he's
goes to
considered
prison.
he's considered an American hero, kind of in the same vein as Captain America.
Yeah, no, I know.
But in his when he in his older age, he's a complete piece of shit.
Oh,
And so when he shows
Soldier
up,
Boy.
yeah, so when he shows up to fight Frontiersman in the series, Frontiersman clocks him with a club or something and
Yeah.
basically kills him. So we're dealing with the fallout of this. I love this character in this book.
Yeah, I know
That
you
shows
love
up.
this
This
guy.
no, this other character.
new guy.
Frontiersman. Basically, Frontiersman's lawyers have said, stay in the penitentiary until your trial date. Don't do anything get you in trouble.
Yeah.
The warden loves Frontiersman. Is a huge fan of Frontiersman.
That's
and,
awesome.
and what happens is this character shows up, this hero character who I love called Free Will. He's a ghost man who can make other people immaterial, and he wants to
Okay.
break Frontiersman out. And Frontiersman's like, no,
No,
and
my
then-
lawyer said I gotta hang out.
no,
man.
I want my trial by jury. I want to have a
Nice.
trial by my peers.
So this
he's
is
like-
continuing then. This book.
Yeah, this is continuing that. But what happens is Free Will makes Frontiersman immaterial, and Frontiersman figures out how to control the power and knocks Free Will out. And then while Free Will's unconscious, everybody in the prison becomes immaterial.
And it's just a prison break.
some people are dealing with it different ways, but yes, there are a couple of prisoners that do escape.
That's awesome.
But it's the consequences of that, because it's just like,
Yeah.
Frontiersman's like, leave me alone. And Free Will's like, no.
That's cool.
It's great.
Awesome. Yeah, good choice. Taylor, you're up, buddy.
Honorable mention, just because it was kind of a light week for me, I'll do Batman number 123. There's some decent fight scenes in here. It's been an enjoyable event, this Shadow War thing, or crossover, I guess I should say. It's been fine. But my number 3 this week is going to be One Star Squadron number 6 of 6.
That is my number 1 pick this week.
Yeah, I can see why.
Number 2 pick this week.
It was pretty granular for me between 1, 2, and 3 this week, but this one was my number 3 because it is tying up a lot of loose ends, but this is basically one big monologue that Mark Russell is writing about, being a cog in a machine, but still trying to be a good person in spite of all that, trying to do good in the world while, recognizing that
the world is shit.
Yeah, the system.
Yeah, and especially as like one person, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's very kind of jarring to see like superheroes be talking like this, but that's kind of the point, I think. That's how that's a device that Mark Russell is using for this. But also, this final letter he gets from Minuteman, who has made the best use of his second chance, although at first not really, like he
falls into it.
Yeah, he hit the rockest of rock bottoms, and but he managed to bounce back from that. He got a second chance from Red Tornado, and ultimately he did land on his feet. And it was really sweet, the letter that he sent him, pointing out that like Red Tornado did make this huge difference in his life,
Yeah, because Red Tornado was going around asking if it was all the stuff that he did was worth it, and then when he gets the letter from
nobody
Minuteman,
had a good answer.
Nobody had a good answer for him. But when he gets that letter
answer
from Minuteman, it makes it worth it for Red Tornado.
Yeah. This touched me in a great way, dude. This whole series, really. Mark Russell.
Yeah.
He's just this wonderfully positive ending to a overall very cynical story, typical Mark Russell style.
Yeah.
He shows us that it's the system that's cynical, not us, but we have a choice.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. That, like, a lot of times, like, maintaining your humanity in a system like that is the most heroic thing you can do.
Yeah.
This is something that Mark Russell has a particular talent for, taking a ridiculous concept and telling a really cutting story about modern society, but ultimately with that kernel of hope and, altruism at the heart of it,
Yeah. I mean, Flintstones, Snagglepuss, that sounds like it. A Flintstone, the Flintstone, Snagglepuss, that pink cat. No,
I pity all the people who have never
ready for these.
Like people who never gave these a second look because you're going to get past like what this is a Flintstones comic. This is an old Hanna-Barbera thing. You need to go back and find them. They are great.
If they've got a trade, you definitely need to get it.
That was one of the first books that I had to retire on this show because every week it was something new. Just blew my mind, and it was the same with this One Star Squadron.
And it was very topical.
Well, this was topical too.
But the Flintstones was topical for when it was out,
and it was a lot more.
It's been like what 5 years now.
Oh yeah, and the Flintstones covered more social issues than this.
Yeah,
this was mostly all capitalism and finding your place as like Taylor said,
the gig economy.
A cog in the machine, and great book. It was my number 2. So
this easily could have been my number 1. My number 1 this week is number 1 because of a very subjective reason, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's fine. Awesome. I'll go. I wanted to shout out a couple of books. Once and Future 25, that's retired. Honorable mention. Kieran Gill and Dan Moore kill it every time. Little Monsters number 3 was great. I think we'll hear about that later. Metal Society, possibly hear about that. Zach Kaplan, Gil Heron Balby, and Marco Lesko. A solid start, cool premise, really deep sci-fi. It's right up my alley, but I am going to need another issue or two to see if this is really going to be for me. I mean, it's a great indie week, great image week. David could have had any of these books on his topic, but Twig number 1 is my actual honorable mention. Scotty Young and Kyle Tram. Great book. It's ripe for adaptation. It's a kid's book, right? That's fine. But man, some of the best character designs you are going to see in comics this year. That is fucking amazing. And he just continues that through the whole book.
Yeah, it kind of has like a bit of a
Super
Jim
well
Henson
done.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know the word,
It's a great-
sensibility to it.
Yes, yeah, it's a great book to have on comic shop shelves for free comic book day too. But my actual number 3 is Star Trek Mirror War number 6. Scott and David Tipton, Gavin Smith talk about multiverse this week. You know, that's one of the big things. So this series has been the best sort of distraction for Star Trek fans. It's hard to be a Star Trek comic fan right now because there are 8 fucking Star Trek shows. So they're kind of ignoring the comics in this weird way where everything new is happening on TV. So we're getting all this nostalgia shit like the 5th year of the Enterprise where it's just rehashing the Kirk years and like these one shots from DS9 that, okay, that was all right, but it's not really compelling. But this, no one's ever going to touch the Mirror War or the Mirror Universe on screen. They're just not going to do it. Not since Discovery, did all its shit in season 1 and 2.
Yeah,
This has just been great.
this is the best type of thing to do in a comic, right?
Yep.
Like take a fun idea that's just fucking awesome, balls to the wall action, and stuff that you would never see otherwise.
Yeah, there was a Ferengi bank robbery.
Were the Ferengis the bank
up.
robbers, or were the
No,
Ferengi
they were the
Ferengi
bankers.
Oh,
They were the bankers.
okay.
Captain Akona shows up and then gets thrown out of an airlock. Picard has his fleet now. This whole series has basically been how is Picard going to get his fleet, right? And they've gone on these little adventures in every issue. But around that, it's been all these little drops of Mirror Universe Star Trek The Next Generation lore. And it's just been great, for Trek fans. We got a couple comments, Matt. This goes way deeper in the women's psychology. Yeah, sorry I missed that comment, dude. Well, no, you just made it a minute ago. Yeah, dude. Great writing. Did like the Patrick Stewart? Yeah, for sure. Anytime Patrick Stewart's like one of the best actors to ever live.
Man,
anytime he's on anything.
I don't want to
see
meet the
it.
person who isn't delighted by seeing Patrick Stewart on screen in any context,
Yeah. So my number 3, Star Trek Mirror War number 6. There's still 2 more issues of this in the main series, and I think at least one more one shot where they focused on individual characters. So it's going to make a really good hardcover later this year as well. Dave.
You have made me realize that I didn't get a copy of Little Monsters.
Oh, shit.
So my number 2.
So I don't have a number 2. I forgot that book.
No, I didn't get it. It's not in my stack.
What's your number 2, Dave?
My number 2 book is Metal Society, number 1.
Good choice.
So I like this. There's a lot of story building going on. We get the very human angle in here. The robots have resurrected the human race in a degree
after hundreds of years.
After hundreds of years, and like after 3 decades, like the machines don't know what to do with humans, so they give them like these, these shit jobs, like cleaning up junk and all that. But they've also engineered these humans to be much stronger than the original generations of humans.
That's a fun premise, right? Because like it kind of like it's a role reversal in that like instead of humans making robots to do the things that they can't do for themselves, it's robots making humans to do the things they can't do for themselves.
Well, they can do them. It's almost like the robots feel bad, they're compassionate. Like, no, if we can bring humans back, let's bring them back. And they do. But then it's like, all right, so now what do we do with them?
They didn't put us in a nature preserve like Jurassic
Yeah, they
Park.
just said, all right, you guys go do what you want. And they're like, well, we got to eat. And the robots are like, oh, yeah, y'all got to eat.
Yeah, because these humans,
weird, dude.
But the human society is being created artificially and naturally now.
Yeah.
The earlier generations of humans are starting to have children. But this the human character we get introduced to is her name's Rosa Gen 3 because she's a 3rd generation artificial human.
Yeah.
And she's been engineered to basically bend metal.
Yeah, she's really strong. Yeah,
she's very strong. She can break metal. And
so this is what the robots have decided.
The robots have
to fight them.
Yeah, the humanity is basically going to get their own human rights back by fighting in boxing matches with robots. Yeah. And we have this one machine here. It's a construction robot. He's basically the Bender of this series.
Right. I have a lot of faith in this writer. Zach Kaplan does a lot of good sci-fi. So again, I just need a couple of issues, I think.
But this was a good world building issue, but we only got the human perspective, which I suspect issue 2 we're going to get the robot perspective.
Yeah, I do too. Matt in the chat, thanks for hanging out, bro. What are your thoughts on the new reboot of the Manfield Earth? I haven't gotten enough of it yet, dude. I got to know more. Everything. I mean, people hate on reboots. I'm okay with reboots. You know, they're like,
I mean, this is one.
Hollywood has no new ideas. Of course not. It's Hollywood. Of course they don't.
I mean, they never have. I mean,
movies. Yeah.
People have been like
They have
rehashing old
ideas, they
shit
just
since
gotta be
any
brave.
stories were ever told, you know?
Yeah, novels have always been adapted, you know.
Well, but anyway, though,
yeah.
as far as this goes, this is something that's more rife for a reboot than most other things, you know? It's something that, like, you know, people know about, but I don't think ever really caught big. So, you know, it's a good opportunity for them to make a bigger splash with the property.
Is it that show on Showtime?
No, I think they're doing a movie. I think they're doing an actual movie. I don't know. Again, I haven't heard enough about it to know for sure, but cool. I think we're up to Taylor for number 2. I think. Taylor?
My number 2 kind of came out of nowhere for me, but it was actually Giant Size X-Men Thunderbird number 1.
Did I? I don't think I grabbed an image of that. Sorry.
I'd be surprised if you did. I wasn't expecting it to be in my top 3, but I really enjoyed the hell out of this.
I will try to check it out, Matt. I have not seen it yet, but we will. Yeah, we'll try to.
I don't have
over here doubting David, but oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Thunderbird thing was pretty damn cool. It kind of is grappling with the idea that this is someone who's most famous for having died. And like here he has like woken up decades later. I don't know how long it's been for him, but like, you know, from our perspective, decades later, and like, you know, trying to find his place in the world. And he tries to go back and find his roots. And it touches a lot on important subjects like, you know, life on reservations and also, you know, abuse by people in positions of authority.
No.
I just thought it was a lot of fun. A
lot of big action.
It was a cool reintroduction to a character that I honestly only knew because he died, like they were saying in the comic. Yeah. Apparently there's also a big effort to like include a lot of authenticity. Like they consulted a new like costume designer with, you know,
with native heritage.
Yeah, someone with you know a foot in that world. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think even the co-writer is native on this. So
yeah, apparently she's also like a AWA wrestler, but yes, she is also Native American.
Good for her. Got 2 jobs. I only got 1 job. I hate mine. She got 2 cool jobs.
That's because she's got 2 cool jobs.
Dunking on you here, Gomer.
Anyway, 1-Star Squadron was my pick for number 2. Mark Russell, Steve Lieber. This wraps the series, by the way. It should be collected within the next 2 weeks, so look for it. Look for it. That brings us to number 1, Dave.
I already said my number 1 was 1-Star Squadron number 6.
Awesome choice.
Great book. Always love Mark Russell. The series is a lot better than it deserves to be, and it should be something. It should be required reading book.
Man,
Mark Russell never.
Whenever you see Mark Russell, even it could be the stupidest looking premise in the world, but if you see that Mark Russell is writing it, you should at least give it a look.
Yeah, Second Son is a stupid premise, but it's great.
Dude. Second Coming.
Second Coming, Second Son was the name of the series that followed it. Second Son, Second Coming.
Dude, I love that so much because that's the book where DC was like, no, we can't do it.
No, Image was.
Oh, was it?
It was Image because
it was DC that was doing it.
It was somebody. I think it
was. What the
Image.
Fuck ever. Anyway, moving on.
Image did those Mark Miller Jesus books, man. I don't think they give a shit. So, awesome, Taylor. Numero 1.
My number 1 this week was Avengers Forever number 5.
Nice.
Because this was a fucking rad Doctor Doom story. This is really all this is doing is just breaking down the background of Doom Supreme, who's been showing up in the Avengers books. He's the leader of the multiversal Masters of Evil. Mm-hmm. But this
Baby Kang, right? Baby
Thanos, yeah.
Middle school Thanos.
Teen Thanos, I think is what it is. But
yeah.
But either way, so basically his background is that he did the same thing that Dr. Doom did during Mark Waid and Mike Ringo's Fantastic Four run, where he sacrificed his childhood lover in order to make himself a magic suit of armor. But I guess the only difference in his universe is that he ended up winning. And then he went around like finding more dooms to sacrifice, because that's the only other being in the universe or in the multiverse that he loves is himself. And so he's using that to give himself like more and more power. This was cool to me because it's a great indication that Jason Aaron gets Doctor Doom. He gets what makes him like a scary, implacable, overwhelming villain. You know, he's just a dude. At the end of the day, he's like a normal ass human. But this particular Doctor Doom has made himself like a fucking Avengers wrecking Sorcerer Supreme to the nth degree fucking God Slayer. And apparently now he goes through these Earths to Earths. The other Masters of Evil are all like calling dibs on different Earths. He doesn't give a shit about any of them. He just finds all the dooms from these Earths and brings them into his cadre to either sacrifice or make into like his lapdogs. Like he is he's such a bad motherfucker that he like goes around breaking other dooms. Like
That's awesome.
He forces them to like look at his face, and he tells his life story, and it eventually just like breaks them down. And I'm basically just giving I'm just giving a play-by-play of what happened in the book, but I fucking love this character, and I always love it when a great writer does a great job
with a great character.
A great character, yeah.
I should really look into this. I'm kind of over Aaron and his Avengers and his shit not really going anywhere. You know what I mean? It just kind of keeps carrying on, and it's. I'm worried this is doing the same thing. But it still sounds like it's a great read. It doesn't matter if it doesn't go anywhere. You're having fun on your drive to nowhere, you know, but I don't know. All right, I'll go. Number 1, Star Wars Obi-Wan, Christopher Cantwell, Ario Anadidi. This is similar to like a Lord of the Rings, where Ben is just recording parts of his life. This seems like this is maybe going to play out sort of like an anthology story where Ben, during a sandstorm, old as shit Ben, during a sandstorm, is just writing down shit he remembered from his youth.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. I love visiting this universe. This was him in when he was training to be a Jedi. This dude running off because he sensed that his dad was going to be in trouble, so he just left. And then Obi-Wan was going to help him, and they got in trouble. And when they got in trouble,
they ran into like a gang of thugs.
Yeah, and they did end up getting away, working together, using the Force. But then Obi-Wan was like, well, no, dude, you are scared, and that's why you're going. And it sort of had these same sort of tones. So when his other friend was afraid of losing things, you know, Anakin, later on, and it was just a really well done story in that, you know, okay, where, especially for a character, Obi-Wan Kenobi, there ain't much left to explore. All right, we've been there. We followed him through like 5 fucking movies. We followed him through like 2 animated series. All right, we know what this guy has done. We know there's what else is there to tell, and it looks like they found something. And I was impressed, and I love visiting the Star Wars universe, and I love being surprised by a book, and that's why this got up there. And that art was just amazing.
It was pretty good.
Let me turn the banner off just so you can see that full panel. Just wonderfully done stuff. So
yeah, it had that very Star Wars-esque feel to it, like from older series.
I mean, it's not Star Wars-esque, it is actual.
It's actually Star Wars.
I should rephrase it as the Dark Horse Star Wars-esque.
Sure. So yeah, that was my number 1, and that's it. Wow. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We really appreciate it. Come back tomorrow. We're going to do our preview show where we talk about all the new books coming out this week. That's going to be a lot of fun. Go check out the Comic Book Bullies. They got a show coming up tonight, most likely. Last I heard, they're still doing it. Leroy and Eli talking about Doctor Strange. And they might just go the whole episode talking about Doctor Strange. Who knows?
It's potentially happening.
Get links to all of that shit at outrightgeekery.com. Go there. We got links to everything we got going on. Social media, videos, highlights, reviews, news, just everything. Merch, Patreon. So yeah, thanks again for hanging out, everybody. We really appreciate it. But most of all, thanks to these guys for hanging out with this guy.
It's always a pleasure.
We're gonna do it again next time.
Same geek time, same geek channel.
Also got to get up to the chat this week, man. Really coming along. Hey, thank you, Matt. That's awesome, dude. We appreciate it.